Hello there. I realize it's been quite some time since I made my last video, but honestly, the reason it took so long is I got very wrapped up in all the fandom Discord. I have never seen a fandom jump from one of the most positive and supportive ones I've ever been in to people hating each other with a passion so quickly. However, I do want to say I have friends on both sides of this issue. I have friends on the side saying that Gotham has queer baited us, and I have friends on the side who are trying to stay positive about it. So I'm able to look at this from an unbiased perspective, and I think that I am possibly a rarity in this fandom right now because a lot of people have taken completely to one side or the other, and everyone's just at war with each other now. And as always, a big part of why this Discord got so out of control is because of misunderstandings. Misunderstandings can be so detrimental to a friendship if you misunderstand somebody's words or their actions, and if you don't ask them why they're behaving a certain way or why they're doing a certain thing or saying a certain thing, it can get really bad because you have in your head, oh, this is why they're doing that, and they have in their head, this is why I'm doing that. It can be very, very bad. For those of you who are newer to the fandom or a little bit confused about the extent of this, I'll explain it a little bit to you. We'll start with the positivity shippers. The Discord began in season 3, mainly during the episode where Barbara outed Penguin to Ed to push her own agenda. That's kind of where things started to go awry. And after the scene where she outs him, Ed goes to Penguin and he kind of traps him into admitting his feelings so that Ed will know 100% that Oswald's the one who killed Isabella. Now, there were two ways this was taken, and this is where things started to go a little crazy. The positivity shippers were saying that what Barbara had done was very wrong, that she shouldn't have outed Penguin because that's very dangerous, and that everything that resulted from that was 100% her fault for doing that, and that Ed was not as guilty because he wasn't trying to trick him for homophobic reasons, that he was trying to trick Oswald simply to find out whether or not he'd killed his girlfriend. The other side, the ones who are saying that Gotham queerbait, are like, no, Ed is just as bad, if not worse, than Barbara because he tricked his best friend into outing himself, which is just as dangerous as someone outing you, and that he is homophobic because he then used Oswald's feelings for him to cause him a lot of pain. Spoilers coming up ahead. After this initial confession was made, Oswald wanted to go back to being just friends with Ed because he thought that he was upset because he's LGBT. And Ed gave him a hug and said that Oswald is his best friend and he wanted him to remember that. That caused a lot of people to feel like, oh, something positive could happen from this. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything bad to Oswald because he's still saying that and he sounds like he means it. During the hiatus, the mid-season hiatus, the actual show's Twitter account, as well as some of the actor Twitter accounts and the writer's Twitter account, were making it look very much like they were going to make up and get back together. There was a lot of stuff about them kissing and making up. There was a lot of stuff about them being in love. I mean, it was pretty undeniable, honestly. And fast forward a little bit, Ed uses Penguin's hardships to completely bring him down. And this is unlike anything we've seen Ed do. Usually he's either super impulsive or he's just a pain in the ass. This time he was honestly hurtful. He made it appear to Oswald that he was seeing the ghost of his dead father and then actually found his father's remains and used those to terrorize him to bring him down. There were so many ways around this. And after this, he tortures him for killing Isabella, all the while making jabs at him about his love for him. And after that, again, listened to Oswald going on about how much he loves him and shot him anyway. There were probably better ways around this. And then we come back for the remainder of season 3. Ed is still making jabs at Oswald about him being in love with him, even when Oswald is trying to ignore them and act like nothing ever happened. And it was kind of nasty. And we ended with Ed still wanting to kill him. And the further we got into interactions between Ed and Oswald after the killing of Isabella, the worse things got in the fandom. The positivity shippers are still saying there's a chance because they've had numerous chances to kill one another and they still haven't. And let's face it, usually if you want to kill someone, you're just going to get it over with. You're not going to sit there and plan out, oh yeah, let's make a deal. Let's just promise not to kill each other until this point or that point. Usually that's not going to happen. You're just going to get over with and do the thing, even if it's shady, especially since both of them have been kind of shady before. And the shippers who say that Gotham queer-baited, again, on the opposite end of the spectrum, are saying that there's absolutely no way. Nygmobblepot is not endgame. It's dead. It's buried. It's never coming back. It was never going to be a thing. And this was all absolutely a gigantic queer bait because the show itself made it look like something was going to happen with these characters, and so did all these accounts online. And that it was really wrong because everyone honestly thought they'd finally get some positivity and a really good queer relationship that was healthy and mutually beneficial, and they didn't get that. Now, let me explain some of the arguments that have happened too. One of the arguments is that, well, no matter what, it wouldn't have been this wonderful, positive representation of a queer relationship because they're villains. I don't agree with this completely. I think it still could have been healthy and supportive because if you are an avid fan of the Batman franchise, you know that very few of the Batman villains are 100% evil across the board. Most of them have vulnerabilities and most of them have been severely damaged by society and or their own very serious mental illness, so you can't really say that they're evil. A few of them have even tried in the comic books to redeem themselves at some point or another. They really want to get better. So they do have potential for good, and it could have actually been pretty entertaining seeing this couple of Ed and Oswald going through Gotham, causing all kinds of shenanigans together, and as a unit, they'd have been a lot stronger than they are on their own, so they could have gotten away with a lot more and caused a lot of grief to poor Gordon, who would just be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I can't have them synced up because I cannot deal with this. There's too much going on. It could have been really nice representation. It could have been very helpful. It could have been pretty funny at times, and they chose not to go that route. The other big problem that arose was that when people were disagreeing about whether or not Gotham queer-baited or Nygmobblepot is going to be endgame, there were a lot of personal insults thrown, and that was completely unacceptable from both sides. When one person would be trying to explain their side, another would accuse them of being internally homophobic. They would say that they're not a good representation of the community. They would say that they're not the orientation they say they are, that they're not the gender they say they are. All of these things anyone in this community knows are extremely hurtful and potentially damaging. And we have to remember, even though a lot of us are close friends and we like each other a lot, we talk to each other all the time, we have each other on Facebook, we try to meet up places, we don't know everything about each other. People are entitled to their own little secrets to keep to themselves. You do not know if the person you just misgendered or said isn't really bi or something isn't suffering from severe depression, and that this one last person saying something like that to them isn't what's going to push them over the edge. I doubt any of you want to be the cause of someone hurting themselves, but you have to understand that there's a potential for that when you do things like this. You cannot be doing that. I don't care what you think deep inside about that person. If you think that they aren't really, transgender or bisexual or pansexual or whatever, that's your business. You shouldn't be vague posting about that person or just directly posting about that person saying something like that, because there are many ways to be LGBT plus, and you can't fit everyone into your little box. It's not right, it's not fair, it's very hurtful, and I do not want to ever see any of that in this fandom again. I am under the T umbrella and under the P umbrella, and people would not expect that when they look at me in these videos. Whether or not you think I look like somebody who falls under those LGBTQ categories doesn't matter. I am what I am. I know what my truth is, and it is up to you to accept that or ask questions. That better never come up again. It's so wrong. And I was getting really, really angry because people on both sides were doing it. Nobody was innocent. The last wrap up I have for this is I'm going to attempt to help each side kind of understand the other a little bit. To the people who believe Gotham queer-baited, I want you to understand that, yeah, it can be very annoying when people are blatantly lying about stuff in the upcoming season and trying to trick people into staying with the ship. That's very wrong of them. But people are entitled to ship whatever they want. If they want to continue shipping Nygmobblepot as whatever they envision it in their own minds, that's okay. Just let them, live and let live. Who cares? Ignore it if it's annoying you, but, you are not entitled to tell them what they can and cannot enjoy. So please, just if they're headcanoning it as something closer to the beginning of season 3, just let them do it. Let them have their fun. It's not hurting anybody for them to headcanon it as something nicer. And to the positivity shippers, I do need you to understand something that the people who believe Gotham queer-baited have brought to everyone's attention, because you can't really ignore this bit of information. Come around the time they were finalizing season 3, and it just hadn't aired on television yet, they didn't think they were getting season 4, which means that you can look at the finale of season 3 as this is the end of the series, nothing is coming after this, it's done. Which means no, they were not planning at all on explaining what the hell was up with Isabella. They were not planning on fixing Nygmobblepot. It was what it was at the end of the season. You have to understand that it basically was being treated as a season and series finale because they didn't know they were getting season 4 until after they finished shooting the last episode. So there are some problems involved in that, and I invite both sides to politely discuss this with one another. I think we'd have a lot less problems in this fandom if you guys would just talk to each other in a calm and rational manner and explain your sides to each other without insulting one another. We wouldn't have as much discord then. But hopefully, as kind of an intermediate, I've helped you understand both sides of the issue and why both sides are hurting really badly, and hopefully we can move on and get past this now, and there won't be as many problems. That's my biggest hope moving forward. And I will continue making some videos here. I'm going to be moving like in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be really busy soon. But remember, my inbox on Tumblr is always open, no matter what side of this issue you're on. And I am open to listening to whatever is bothering you and I am open to listening to whatever's bothering you within the community, outside the community. And I mean, go ahead and name people in the fandom that are really upsetting you. I'll do all I can to help you find a way to talk to them and fix whatever issue you're having. I don't want anyone to be in pain. This is supposed to be a fun, safe, happy place. With that said, hopefully things get better again, and I will see you all hopefully sooner than later.